Buddy Hield, the newest Golden State Warrior, he signs a sign and trade to make his way out to give Steph Curry a complimentary three-point shooter, a 40% career three-point shooter, signs a 2-year, $21 million deal, $18 million in the first two, $3 million partial guarantee for 26-27 with a player option for the fourth if he wants it. Not necessarily the prototypical replacement for Clay in this lineup, Jeremy Kahn, but also not a bad one to kind of take a little bit of the pressure off of Steph Curry. Is it enough to keep the Warrior dynasty alive, in your opinion?
Man, that's tough. I don't think so. I think this thing's done. And depending on what they can add, because now we have an older Draymond Green, we have an older Steph Curry. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but more susceptible to injuries, looking at time off and how it looks going up against these young guys. The one thing Steph possesses is not going to go away. That jump shot's just amazing. It's the best in the history of the league. And I was curious what was going to happen with him, because he's already accomplished everything you need to accomplish, right? He's going to be a Hall of Famer. That's obvious. He's got the championships. He's got all the accolades. Does he want another one? Does he want to add to that resume? And as a basketball player, you'd think he'd want to. Does that mean he's staying in Golden State? I'm wondering if he gives them a look year or two and just saying, hey, I want to go somewhere else. Or is he the guy that's just happy where he is in Golden State and finish his career there? Buddy Hield, I was surprised that it didn't work out with the 76ers. And I mean, it didn't work out at all with the Sixers. You got a 40% three-point shooter and you can't even use him. So maybe that's a good fit. I do think Steve Kerr's the guy to get the most out of him, though. And he would fit into that offense with shooting threes and running up and down the court, because that seems like what Buddy Hield likes to do.
They did also add a couple of other players in, DeAnthony Melton and Kyle Anderson now. And I will say those signings plus Buddy Hield, I do think means they've got some good versatility on both sides of the floor, right? Both of those guys are going to be guys you can trust in defense, along with Draymond Green to commit various levels of assault underneath the basket when required. But no, I'm with you. I don't see, even with Buddy Hield in the mix, I don't see this Warriors team as it is currently built necessarily being a threat for anything, right? Like I think they'll still be fine. I think they'll still be a team that can threaten to be a playoff team, right? Maybe a wild card team that can sneak in there down the stretch. But I'm looking at a team that was plus 500 by 10 games last year, fourth in the Pacific. They were fine last year with Clay. Clay obviously had the stretch where things weren't going great. He ends up playing on the bench. I don't necessarily think that I think Buddy Hield can put more down than Clay. I think Buddy Hield fits into this more. I think it's going to be probably a good idea for you to go look and see if you can upgrade down low. I mean, Draymond Green technically labeled as the power forward with this team, but plays on the block as much as he plays anywhere else. I think you would be served to find another true power forward if you're going to let Draymond keep being Draymond down low. I think with an aged lineup up top, Jeremy Kahn, you're going to look at a team that's pretty good. Do they compete with Denver? No. Minnesota? Probably not.
I mean, you think about all the young players that are in the league, especially out west. Wemby's out there. That team's going to eventually start making its run. You mentioned Anthony Edwards, Luka, Jokic. I mean, you've got to get through all these guys. I've been talking about, I'm not even sure the Lakers, Suns, and Warriors are even relevant. Not saying they're not going to make the playoffs, but making the play-in games and being the 8th or 7th seed, I don't know what all that gets you. Maybe a pat on the back, but we don't think they're going to win at that point. So, like, my whole thing in just looking at this team and the way it's assembled is that, you're going to have to make some moves. You're going to have to do something to better it. And the thing I've always wondered is, what does Steph Curry want to do? Does he want to finish his career in Golden State, or is this something where he wants to be an add-on somewhere else? I mean, Draymond Green loves LeBron. I'm assuming that he'd like to play with him at some point, but who knows what's going to happen. And they're just another one of those teams that had their run, and it just feels like the air is slowly coming out. Maybe they should just pop this balloon and start over, but they don't have the same front office running everything.
We've talked about the evolution of the game of LeBron James. He's my age. He's 39. Yes, the game has changed. He's still a physical player, but it's not every possession like it used to be. We're watching the assist number. I think last year he averaged 8.4 assists, tied for the highest in any single given year in his career. Like, LeBron James' game has evolved. Steph Curry got his game perfected. Still nobody's been able to stop it. And even at 36 years old, he's still doing what he does. And yeah, for a 6'2", 185 pounds, and if he's 185, I'm 250 in muscle. I'm not. I'm 250 because I'm fat. All right? Like, no. That man put together a legacy and a body that is not an NBA body, but like he grinded to make sure he had a game that worked, and it works well. Like, I'm a big Steph Curry fan. I have been for a long time. I don't care about the throne mouthpiece. We all throw our temper tantrum every now and then.
Oh, yeah.
And if you tell me you don't, I call you a liar. I'm not worried about it. I love Steph Curry, and I got to think that at 36, like I said, I mean, we don't have a lot of career on one team players in the NBA. So it almost like it kind of feels to me like we put it this way, JC, we have not heard even a spark of Steph being interested in moving on and making one more run, right? And NBA players, they can't fart in public without it being front page TMZ news. So it feels to me like Steph's a guy that's like, hey, man, wrote it out here, figured it out here. They bought into me. They let me figure my game out. We won some rings together. I'm going to ride this thing out to the end. But no, I do not think we're going to see Steph Curry in any more NBA finals. And to be honest with you, I'm okay with that. He's had a hell of a career.
I think it's a great point. You brought up he's 36. I wasn't even thinking about him being 36. And I guess part of the problem is what LeBron's doing at 39. I mean, it's unheard of. The numbers he's putting up at that age in that body is just incredible. But with Steph, yeah, you're right. You know, the one thing that I appreciated about him the most was if you followed him at Davidson at all, he was a jump shooter. He wasn't a point guard. His coach allowed him to really work through that his last year there and become the point guard and get better at ball handling and develop himself a little bit more. Because coming in as a shooting guard, you're going to look at him and go, yeah, he can shoot, but he's small. Is he going to hold up? And sure enough, he has. And if you've ever watched him pregame, do that ball handling, all the stuff he does every single day, how difficult that is working on it, the mindset, the preparation to be able to do that. It's just incredible. And I think he deserves a ton of credit for working on his game. He made it happen. So, yeah, the fact that they built that, they won their championships, it's going to say a lot. And I didn't even realize he was 36. I knew he was in his mid-30s, but he might be on that downside of the career and saying goodbye in a couple of years.